Negotiations between Amazon and Mark Ferguson have broken down, but there is still hope. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So this video is going to be a recap of the live video we did just Monday gone about the relationship between Amazon and Mark Ferguson's company, Penguin and Parker, and where we're at with contract negotiations for a new Stargate series. But also, we're going to have a little bit of extra information and some clarity on a few of the points. So let's just get straight into it. So apparently, the week commencing the 12th of December last year, there were a series of meetings between Amazon, MGM, and Mark Ferguson's company, Penguin and Parker. Now, Mark Ferguson wasn't necessarily involved with all these meetings. It was members of the team. There were lower executives as also involved in some of those meetings. Now, these meetings are all about putting together the final touches on the preparation work before green light. So it's all about what would the budget be? What sort of actors are we looking at to put in the show? What are sort of how many episodes? Very preliminary storyboarding, very preliminary artwork, all these sorts of things. It's all that to give a package to put to the executives to say, this is exactly what we want to do. I just need your signature and we'll crack on and get it done. So these meetings carried on through the week. At the end of that week, there was also then supposed to be a meeting directly between Mark Ferguson and Michael Wright, the head of scripted material at MGM Plus. Jennifer Salk, head of Prime Studios, was also supposed to be involved in that meeting. Now, I am told that at that meeting, there was a disagreement on several points. Now, earlier in several meetings, there had been discussions about whether Penguin and Parker could handle these two big projects that Amazon were giving them. Obviously, very recently, it was announced that Penguin and Parker would be doing the God of War series for Amazon. This is a big project for Penguin and Parker, and they're going to be basically having the same role in that they did with The Expanse, that they would be executive producers, they would write several of the episodes, and they would be in charge of development. Now, this is something that I suspect they will also do for Stargate, that they will act as, again, executive producers, they will write several of the episodes, and they will develop the series. But then another production company will actually make it. Now, that production company, as far as I'm aware, has still not been found. So, they had these doubts. Could Penguin and Parker do both? Mark Ferguson apparently very quickly dismissed those concerns, saying, basically, I'm going to be doing Stargate, and Hawk Ostby, my partner in crime, is going to be doing the God of War. That really is his baby, and Stargate is mine. My focus will be here, his will be there. So those concerns were dismissed quite easily. But then as conversations with what Amazon would like to do with Stargate continued, Mark Ferguson began to get more and more concerned. They started talking about doing a standalone movie that would be separate from the TV show, something that generally he hadn't been told about before. He believed that he would have developmental control at least over the movies and the TV series so that these two projects would work together. A standalone movie is not necessarily an issue. The Stargate universe is plenty big enough for lots of standalone stories. He was concerned that the projects would be confusing for the audience and that if they were too different, be very disjointed. He was also then told that the new TV series would almost certainly be on MGM Plus in the United States and not Amazon Prime. Now, that was not necessarily a major concern. It was something that we've all expected for a while. But he was also then told that it would be on MGM Plus around the rest of the world as well. Now, that was something that Mark Ferguson was not expecting. At the end of the day, Epix in the United States, that will become MGM Plus shortly, is already an established streaming service. MGM Plus around the rest of the world, however, is not so well established. It's just really a bolt-on to Amazon Prime that nobody really watches. So if this show appeared on MGM Plus around the rest of the world, it really would have a limited audience. And that's very concerning to myself, and I'm sure it will be to lots of Gators, just like it was to Mark Ferguson. But the real problem, and the real thing that apparently Mark Ferguson really couldn't get past, was the budget. They were basically telling them that because this show was going to be appearing on a smaller platform, MGM Plus, it would get a smaller budget. He was asking for something like $10-11 million an episode, which would be around $120 million for a 10-episode series. However, they told him he's more likely to get a budget of $60 million a season of 10 episodes. $6 million an episode, an absolute maximum. Now, because it's a streaming service, they could extend that budget by basically making less episodes, and that is always going to be an option. But he has basically been told they're ordering 8 to 10 episodes and at a maximum cost of $60 million. So these meetings just before Christmas ended with Mark Fergus saying, I don't think I can do that, and we need to have further conversations. Now, that is not what was supposed to happen. I'm being told these meetings were supposed to be the finalization of the agreements that, as I say, this package was supposed to be put to the executives and they were supposed to sign it off. And then we could have had the announcement by the middle of January. It's looking more likely now, however, that that is not going to happen in the middle of January. And it's actually possibly going to be another couple of months because these issues still need to be ironed out. Now, I've been told more recently that meetings are scheduled for next week. That'll be from the 9th of January 2023. And that those meetings are again going to be with the lower executives and Penguin and Parker's team. Mark Fergus won't necessarily be involved in any of those conversations directly. They're going to be discussing the budget and discussing how they can work to what Amazon are hoping to pay. Also, there'll be discussions about whether they can do things like maybe have only 5 or 6 episodes initially for this $60 million and then see how that series is received by us and move on. Also, there'll be discussions, however, about where Amazon plan to put the series. Now, normally, that's not a conversation that would be had between the producers of a TV show. The streaming service, in this case, Amazon, the customer, will go to a production company and say, we want a TV show, and this is what we want. However, Mark Fergus has very serious concerns about how the show will be received. And at the end of the day, it's his name that goes on it. So he does want reassurances that the TV show is going to be given a really decent, fair crack of the whip and will get seen by people. And to do that, it really can't go on MGM Plus alone. Now, whether that means a limited run on Prime just to get interest, that it would then be moved to MGM Plus, or something else is still up for negotiations. But I am told they are open to get this show get made, and they are listening to Mark Fergus's concerns. So, where are we at right now? We're at a really dangerous tipping point. It could go either way. Mark Fergus could say, you know what, I can't do this. I'm just going to concentrate on God of War. Or they could meet somewhere in the middle. They could get, say, $7-8 million an episode. Mark Fergus might have to cut some corners. He might have to change his plans for the overall season. But we would still get something made. Amazon could see the light and actually just give him what he wants, but that doesn't seem likely and isn't really how negotiations work anyway. What I am told is, though, that everything is still possible. Nothing has been decided, and we're still really hopeful that we're going to get this announced in the spring. Now, as I told you lots and lots of times, Stargate appearing on lots of different networks and streaming services is a good thing. This is all getting Stargate into the public domain. Lots of articles are appearing all over the internet about Stargate. This is also a good thing. From my sources, I know this is discussed in marketing meetings constantly, and the sleeping giant of sci-fi is regularly one of the big topics. Amazon genuinely consider this to be a flagpole project and something that they think could be easily as successful as Star Trek is for Paramount. So it is very likely this is going to happen. However, I'm also being told that if it doesn't happen now, it might not happen for a very long time, and it might be put on the back burner. Also, if it doesn't happen now, we're at more and more risk of a hard reboot instead of a continuation of the story that we all really want. So, cross your fingers, cross everything. Don't forget to like and share the video, not just because that promotes my channel, which obviously I want, but also because it promotes Stargate, which we really, really want. And get into the comments. I want to know exactly what you think about this news. Where are we going with Stargate, and what do you think the risks are if it doesn't happen right now like we hope? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out, and you will never miss another video. Also, if you enjoy the channel and you wish to support us further, consider hitting the join button. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.